Alright, hello guys. In this video, I am picking up an engine for my 190E. And for some of you that follow me on Instagram and stuff, you probably saw that I picked up an engine stand from Harbor Freight. Took like 5 seconds to put together, but not sure how much of a quality this is, so we'll see. But right now, getting the G ready. Got the tires all checked, fluids checked. We're now just packing everything. And we'll be heading out here shortly. And it's gonna be like a 5-hour drive almost. So yeah, the drive is gonna suck just because the G is pretty loud. I'm not looking forward to paying for gas for this, so we'll see how much that's gonna cost. But soon enough, this will have a new engine. Of course, after I install this huge payload of parts, which will be happening very, very soon, hopefully in about a month. Good morning, guys. Finally made it back home. We got home at about like 1 or 2 a.m. It was a pretty dreadful drive, but honestly, the 10 hours went by pretty quick. The G did amazing. Honestly, no complaints. I mean, the only complaint I do have is how loud the exhaust is, which I'm gonna fix that eventually. I'm sure you're wondering why there's no engine still. Well, I am waiting for a good buddy of mine to come over and help me unload the engine from the G-Wagon with his crane and put it on the engine stand. And there she is, M104 3.2 liter. Got this engine from a good buddy of mine in Kentucky. Thank you, Jimmy, once again. Also hooked me up with a bunch of extra parts to help me out with the swap. I got the ECU just in case if I want to use it. Got his old drive shaft that I got messed up that I might have to have cut off and have a new disc welded on.
Today, Junior?
But he also gave me another one that's in good condition that was not lengthened. And yeah, I've got some random bits and pieces in the back. Got the airbox, the fan, bunch of hardware and bolts and stuff, so had to have it ratchet strapped on the sides, all 4 corners, so it's not wobbling back and forth, and grab the tire just in case to keep the engine from tipping over and hitting the glass. So yeah, as soon as he gets here, I'm gonna move the Miata out of the way, pull his truck in, unload the hoist, then back the G up, probably halfway, and unload the engine. So we'll see how that goes. So here's some pictures from Jimmy's house when we were picking up the engine. I was planning on recording us putting the engine in, but kind of got sidetracked just because it was so clustered in the driveway and we were just so focused to get the engine in, to get it loaded, and then to, head home because it was starting to get late. But luckily, my girlfriend took some pictures of us while we were, yapping and talking about engine stuff.
No, ma'am. We're musicians. Coming around every now and then, letting you know what it is.
The following statement is true. Oh, yeah.
And it's the same scenario with me unloading the engine. Also got sidetracked and completely forgot to record us pulling the engine out. But my buddy Garrett helped me put the engine on the crane. Pulling the engine out of the car was a lot easier than putting it in the car. So here in this clip, we are putting the bracket from the engine stand on the back of the block. We had to go to the hardware store to get some longer bolts that actually fit in the back, just because the ones that came with the car weren't long enough. So this was my very first time doing anything engine related as far as a swap or, putting the engine on a stand or a lift. So it was a lot to learn, that's for sure. I'm really glad I have some good friends to help me out and taught me along the way. And after we put the bracket on the engine, we were able to slide the actual engine stand on it and carefully lower it to the ground. After that, we just had to unstrap everything and pack everything up because the hard part's done. So here she is, finally on the engine stand. Huge shout out to my buddy Jimmy for helping me load it up in the G. And huge shout out to my buddy Garrett for helping me unload it and put it on the stand. Definitely couldn't have done it without you guys. But here she is, finally on the stand. Picked this one up from Harbor Freight, which I mentioned before. M104, 3.2 liter. The engine itself is actually in a fairly clean condition, especially the inside. But the inside is extremely clean because it seems like the previous owners did a really good job of changing their oil when it's supposed to be changed. Look how beautiful this looks. So, can't wait to crack it open and see what it looks like on the inside. But of course the engine came with some goodies. It came with the intake right here. Came with ECU, the fans and stuff, starter as well, heat shield, a bunch of bolts. That's gonna be fun digging through them all. But so my buddy also gave me 2 of these drive shafts because he was very nice to do so. And this drive shaft is from his Mercedes that ended up getting damaged. You can see right here. It's all mangled up. But he initially gave me this drive shaft, which is the normal length one, which I do have this one in my car, and I could get it lengthened how it needs to be the proper length. But he gave me this one just in case, if I don't want to mess mine up. But then he found this one, which is the proper length, that didn't need any sort of lengthening. But I think what I'm going to do is have a company cut this end off and weld this end on this end to make it a lot easier. And just in case if something messes up or doesn't work out, I could take mine from my Mercedes and cut that one and have them weld it up. And of course we got our torque converter with the flywheel. I'm not sure if I'll be using this flywheel, so I'll have to do some research to figure that out. But I'm very eager to crack this engine open, start cleaning it, start ordering parts. But unfortunately, I can't do none of that because I have so many other things to worry about before a big trip to Canada. I have to still install all of those suspension parts on this Mercedes. I have to fix the rust on this, fix the oil leak on this, and rust. Do the head bolts and the cams and stuff on this, and we have to try to sell this car. So, which of course, we popped our 3rd tire in 1 week. So we have to get this new tire installed in the wheel for her E350. But yeah, gonna do the EGR delete or whatever this is called for the emissions. Take this off, get new turbo manifold. Probably gonna go with the T Motorsport most likely. And then get the valve cover gasket powder coated by the company I usually go to, which is Official Powder Coating. And then get a new intake manifold and stuff, clean everything up. I will most likely keep the AC just because driving with no AC sucks. And yeah, here she is. Might have to get the relocation kit for the oil filter housing, just because the new intake manifold is going to be in the way of this. And there's my old engine, good old M103. Honestly, part of me also wants to build this engine just because it's so reliable. It sounds pretty good in my opinion. And I'd love for this engine to make like 350, 400 because I do want to see it scoot. But I decided to go with this one instead for a bigger challenge. But yeah, soon enough, this engine right here will be inside of my car. So yeah, overall, I'm extremely happy with this engine. I am beyond glad I drove 10 hours to pick it up. And I can't wait to see how it's gonna turn out in a couple months. And a lot of money, of course. So stay tuned if you want to see anything else, and I'll see you guys next time.